Cube in Antarctica. We have very little time. They will do anything to forget the incident with the drones. We worked in 2020 at stations in Antarctica. One day, we had a task to conduct geophysical exploration. We had several groups. Other groups were doing something else. The composition was completely international. I worked in two groups. A detachment of geophysicists conducted reconnaissance with a ground-penetrating radar to explore one of the areas where, as we were told, for landing a helicopter. In fact, it was a cave, as we had already figured out on the graph. But at first, it was like a lake. I apologize for my language, as I have Asian roots and speak English poorly. I will attach photographs. We have very little time. They will do anything to forget the incident with the drones. The workers with whom I went with found something like a stone inside that was perfectly flat. Already approaching it, our Garmin and a bunch of other devices began to fail. After one of the employees took a picture of it with a flash, it suddenly gave a response. The stone suddenly became transparent, and the shapes inside changed. There was a circle, an oval, different signs similar to Egyptian symbols, and at the same time, Greek or maybe Yiddish. I was not sure. More of the equipment failed, but we have frames from film cameras. All of this greatly excited us, but we had time to study it. We did not experience any effects except interest and shock that we found it, since the composition of scientists consisted of those who absolutely do not believe in any ufology, especially those Norwegian and Russian workers who reacted as if they see this every single day. After some time, we were all called to lunch and ordered to stop all work. Employees from the US expedition arrived to us, so we fought. Some of us were brought up to date. As a result, we asked the Russians for a helicopter. It was urgent, and we had no other options. The cube was taken, after which we were very gently met at the American base, and then something strange happened. They made us sign a bunch of non-disclosure documents. Why am I writing this? Because I saw someone post something similar with an egg. I don't know if it was true or not, but we worked in the same area. We also joked that this area is poorly shown on maps and satellites, that there are reptilians and an entrance to Hyperborea and other nonsense. A day later, everyone started having problems sleeping. Everyone had strange dreams, absolute nonsense. But what I will not forget is what one of the employees told me. He said that in 2025, everything will get worse. You'll see. He kept talking about it, and that he had the same dream about the sun, something connected with it, about some kind of grid around the earth, and that they would come to fix it again, or something like that. At first I laughed myself, but in January, I started having similar dreams. I also contacted our group in the chat, different groups, where we talked and met. We learned a lot of new things from that. One of them was that all of the governments were in on this deal. Russia can fight with anyone, and supposedly be an enemy of the USA. Although in fact, they keep the same secret. Like other countries, it's all a big lie. They know everything. The flow of disinformation that will be now is just terrible. They will send fake footage and say that I am a liar. Do not believe me. I will only make this post and will not send any footage, photos, or videos. They are also most afraid of riots, but the likelihood that someone will demand the truth is minimal because people are distracted as much as possible. They made everything out of the show. A lot of truth poured out on the show. Games, films, it was all there, but many will not believe. If it is in the film, does it mean it is fiction? This is brilliantly invented. Put all of the facts on public display, and if you say that you saw something like this, everyone will ridicule you and think that you have gone crazy. We began to see a lot in lucid dreams that began to come true. At first, it seemed trivially stupid, but then we realized a lot, and our world simply turned upside down. My main message for today is that much of what you are told, and many people in the US are telling the truth, even if it is so delusional that you find it hard to believe. And you will close this message, or forget all about it in an hour, and go watch a movie, play a game, or something else. That is how it all works. Please seek the truth. The governments of all the major world powers are lying, especially the US. They made a mistake. All this secrecy can soon destroy everyone. We are already, literally, in eternal slavery. Learn to analyze and collect information bit by bit. Separate the good from the bad, the harmful from the useful, and demand the truth from them. I don't want to spoil the fun. Still waiting for someone to leak the fun stuff. The eggs are dull, minus the initial shock of it not being created by modern day humans. The Foo Fighters are a lame band, and all of the stuff known. Also the lamest finds compared to the cool stuff. At least they are currently, since they are basically massive opal rocks that can't be accessed or breached. Or, at least they haven't been able to, and they've tried for decades. It is my theory that it's almost a troll, since they are very famously known for not letting humans recover anything that would throw us off course. There is some insane footage out there that I hope gets leaked this year. Everyone is going to think it's CGI. Just know any submarine videos you see, if it looks super high quality and almost too good to be true, it is probably real. It was filmed from an Orca XLUUV doing reconnaissance a few hundred southeast of Florida. The sheer size of those things is incredibly creepy. At first, you can't see shit. Everything is pitch black, minus some floating ocean debris being reflected off the light. Then suddenly, the edges of the screen brighten, as this pitch black object that has to be miles wide moves away at insane speeds. The entire time, the sub is floating towards the surface and reveals that this wasn't deep underwater where it is pitch black. They were shallow enough that the sunlight can almost immediately be seen as it moves away. And no, I'm not spoiling the fun. That isn't the fun stuff either. What do you mean by they're very famously known for not letting humans recover anything that would throw us off the course? What is this course that they have us on? Tell us more on. I don't know the answer to that. Probably that we aren't mentally ready and would just filter ourselves out of existence using the shit for selfish means. I was a member of a UAP retrieval program back in 2019, working in Antarctica. While I was working on the project, we discovered something incredibly strange deep within a mountain range cave, an egg-shaped UAP like the others posted here. Similarly, right next to the egg was a pod made out of an unknown metal, and both the pod and the egg were completely sealed, impossible to open. We weren't sure what we were looking at, but it was unlike anything we had ever seen before. I will be posting what I can, but admittedly, I am not as knowledgeable as my peers. If I can, I will be answering any questions. Here are some coordinates. No idea if it's even possible, but did your team try looking inside of it? Like, build a giant X-ray machine or something? X-rays are stupidly easy to create. What one needs is a means to capture the image on the other side. That takes a special type of paper or a sensor that reads the image. Regardless, a metalloid would not allow an X-ray to penetrate and show what is inside the egg. The image is created when objects of different densities provide contrasting shadows on the paper/sensors. Do you understand how X-rays work? What am I even looking at here? Are those made out of ceramic-like material? I found one of those in the forest. Can this theory be correct? Dinosaurs evolved into bipedals. Global cataclysm forced billions into mega bunkers underground. They lived there ever since, 200,000 years ago. They send drones up to check on the surface. They perhaps bioengineered us. Or is this ancient human tech and humanity split into two species? Dinosaurs evolved into bipedals. There were no dinosaurs. They were dragons up until a few hundred years ago, which was likely some sort of biotechnology that survived past the civilization that created its collapse. Consider this. Every civilization across the entire world through recorded history has documented records of dragons. Judaism, Christianity, Islam write about dragons in their holy texts. No mention of dinosaurs until the takeover, and make up a fake history slop to feed everyone. I honestly had the following theory. We hit a few cycles of progress to skyscrapers into cataclysm, where only a few thousand survive on the surface of the earth. One theory was that Jurassic Park already happened, and that the dinosaurs that we find were the cloned revived ones. If we advance her to have mile-high skyscrapers, and we have advanced tech, we would totally clone dinosaurs from millions of years ago. Anons, I am legitimately freaking out over this X stuff. Anyone else actually kinda scared of what is coming? Drones and orbs flying around. Trump gets into office and promises to leak CIA and FBI info, disclose what drones are. Then the Jake Barber interview. Now there is eggs popping off everywhere, and the story the OP told corroborates with most known details of the phenomena. I live in a large city and have children, and I'm freaking out. My wife spent all the afternoon shopping for provisions, and I've ordered tons of survival and apocalypse prep gear online. Feels like we were at the early stages of COVID when info first started coming out, but what's coming seems to be actually life-changing. I am fucking scared anons. At the rate things are going, we might not make it to next week. OP is right to be scared. 2025 is going to be a year no one will ever forget. Why would an alien sleep in an egg in a random empty cave for 700 years? Could sleep literally anywhere in the universe, but no. Let's sleep in this cave on a planet where lower ape beings are looking for me. I'm not terrified, but definitely alert, but I always am, especially when a new president takes office, no matter who it is. Trump especially is a frisky motherfucker that can probably go crazy at any moment, so stock up on guns, ammo, canned food, bottled water, first aid kits, flashlights, batteries, good backpacks, emergency blankets, general tools, hygiene products, etc. The basics. Also, don't rely solely on material stuff. Research how to survive in the wild, how to start a fire, how to build shelter, how to farm. Look into water purification methods. Bottom line is, don't stay still while everything is burning to the ground. No, the notion that a group of former intelligence officers would suddenly champion disclosure purely out of the goodness of their hearts is hilarious to me. Every single one of these so-called whistleblowers has a track record of bullshit behavior longer than anything in the world. Moreover, the people at the very top could not give two shits about this, knowing full well it has no impact on reality. They delegate the task to lower chamber clowns to momentarily placate the UFO community and its self-appointed prophets by staging meaningless hearings. The only reason they even bother is that the UFO community consists of a loud and easily manipulated faction of morons. They are easily influenced, manipulated, and can be made to lobby on your behalf of those who know how to press the right buttons. As for the so-called UFO influencers, it's all about UFOtainment, and they are fully aware of it. A colossal grift designed to exploit the endless escapist cravings of conspiracy enthusiasts and the chronically gullible. The reaction of a believer when you suggest that they have been misled speaks volumes. To them, it's not just a belief system, but a substitute religion, a form of escapism and entertainment all wrapped into one. The reality is that there are no aliens, no secret anti-gravity programs. We are alone in the universe, and it is unlikely that we will ever leave the solar system. We are stuck with each other, our problems, and the harsh truth that no one is coming to save us. Wait, what? What's going on now? Where egg? The egg came from Egypt. I think the egg itself is real, but it's not really the core of the problem. The problem is that we have been lied to for so long, and not for our own benefit. Lied to in order to enslave us. That is why they won't tell us the truth. All of the methods they use to control us, from religion to working, none of that matters if you realize that we are slaves to eternal beings who are not gods. So if we are slaves, we can't choose our own destiny. You try and fail. The ones they select will succeed, only them. Is the egg a power source? Is the egg a weapon? It's a joke, but also, it is joking about something very real. These alien pods are real. It has a door, but the lines are so perfectly machined that they are not visible until the door opens. 100% there was a life form inside. I can't say specifically, but with how the drones are ramping up, it seems it's going to happen this year. The original prediction was 2027, but that was for a limit of events less than what has been happening now. From what I've been told, all we'll be able to do is sit back and watch or hide. We can't participate in this battle outside of using nuclear weapons, which can be disabled by non-human intelligence anyways. With the technology our private military companies possess, at least Lockheed for sure, pollution in society is basically a choice and can be easily wiped out with clean, free energy tech. This stuff exists and can be scaled, but it is being held back. More like all of humanity, including the elites, are in the backseat to the non-human intelligence that is native to Earth, and they protect Earth from other races. I could get killed just for posting this picture. How many eggs/beings do you think that there are? How was this one found, given its location? You said not to trust the News Nation footage, yet it also shows a giant egg being transported. Coincidence? Have these beings gifted us with anything? Is it being held from us? Were they keen to answer your questions or keen to leave? What is your impression of the Nazca mummies? Do they fit into all of this? The first photo I shared, the UFO was found in the Middle East. I never said to not trust the News Nation footage. I think it's legit, and a lot of stuff is about to start leaking. Yes and yes. From what I was told, we tried to communicate with them, but they never respond. Nazca mummies are most likely real, probably another race that came to Earth, but not related to the non-human intelligence that live under the Earth's crust. Here are some more images. This is one of the metallic sphere UFOs. A friend of my dad's would babysit me sometimes when I was little. Mom was not in the picture, and he used to tell me a story that scares the absolute shit out of me to this day. Dad's friend, I'll call him Bob, is driving a rig out in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, Oregon. Has to make the delivery by the following morning, so he decides to just drive for the night. It's like 1 a.m. No one else is out on the roads. Hasn't seen another car in probably 100 miles. He is literally in the middle of nowhere. Suddenly, the whole entire sky lights up, instantly, like daylight. Bob fucking slams on the brakes, has no idea what the hell is going on. Everything stays lit up for a good solid 10 seconds. He can see everything. Whatever is happening, it's not lightning. It doesn't stop or flicker at all. Bob hunkers down, anticipating imminent nuclear devastation. Suddenly sky goes dark again. No sound, no blast wave. He sits there in the middle of the road, waiting for almost 5 minutes, then decides to keep going. Figures it was a meteor or something. Goes about 2 miles up the road and sees a car with its flashers on, stopped in the middle of the road. Stops a good distance away from it. There's not enough room to go around it. Front end of the car is crumpled, like it hit something. Bob figures they probably hit a deer that got spooked whenever the meteor went over and ran into the road. He gets out of the cab and goes to see if the driver is okay. Driver is sitting on the ground by the driver's side door. Has his knees up and is resting his head on his arms. "Hey, buddy, you okay?" Bob calls. He stops about 10 feet away for seemingly no reason. Something about the whole situation feels weird. Bob is one of those guys that always listens to his gut, so he stays put. "God, my head is killing me," the guy says, but he does not lift his head up, so it is muffled. "Did you hit a deer?" Bob asks. He's getting more and more uneasy. Something is wrong, but he still can't figure out what exactly it is. The guy says he thinks he might have hurt his head, asks Bob to please help him. Bob takes a step forward, but his instincts are going apeshit. He looks at everything again. That is when he notices it. The fucking car is all wrong. It looks like what someone thinks a car looks like. It has all of the right pieces, but there is nothing extra, if that makes sense. Bob says it looked like a cheap Hot Wheels knockoff. It just looked wonky and wrong. He looks around at the back of the car and realizes that not only is there no license plate, there's not even a trunk. It's just one solid piece of material with taillights put in it. There is no manufacturer or model names. Bob knows cars, and this thing is nothing he's ever seen before. From where he is standing, he can see that there's no tailpipe or even hubcaps. It's just the shape of a car. He starts to back up, and the guy asks for him to help again. Bob tells him he can't help him, and that he will call a tow truck when he gets to the next town. The guy lifts his head and looks at Bob. Tells him he thinks he might have a concussion. Something is really, really wrong with the guy's face, but again, it takes a second for Bob to figure it out. This next part is exactly how Bob described it. Everything on the men's face was where it should have been, in their normal positions. He looked totally normal, except for the fact that his eyes and mouth were on upside down. Bob goes apeshit and sprints back to his rig. Climbs in, locks the door just in time for the man to slam into the door behind him. How the fuck did he get there so fast? He knocks on the glass and smiles at Bob, but because his mouth is upside down, it looks like he is screaming. Tells Bob to open the door so he can come in. Bob fucking floors it. Doesn't care if he hits the guy or not. His truck easily pushes the car out of the way. Whatever it is light, and it makes no sound when he hits it. Unfortunately, it's an anticlimactic ending. Bob got where he was going fine, with no other problems. My dad knows the story, but I don't think he believes it. But Bob tells it to everyone he meets, so he obviously does. He is absolutely adamant about the guy being an alien. Years later, I heard about the Thatcher effect, and nearly had a fucking heart attack when I saw it. I showed one of the pictures to Bob, and he would not even look at it. He says it's exactly what the guy looked like. Pick is very much related. Nothing amazing, but likely truer than the rest of the shit here. Land nav training in northern Florida. Camp landing or something. Pitch black, groups of 4 together. Cadre driving under paths on ATVs everywhere to check on us. Crickets and frogs chirping. Night birds doing their usual night calls. Gets unusually louder. Gets so loud it starts to hurt. My buddies notice it too. Chirping goes on for like 3 minutes. Seems forever. We can barely talk to each other. Goes dead quiet in a snap. It's a relief, so we are more content than concerned. 5 minutes go by. We find a land nav point. We notice it's still dead quiet. Buddy mentioned it usually means a predator is around. We don't give a shit. We have red lens flashlights and rubber ducks, training M16s. And everybody asks, do you hear that? Low rumbling / rolling R sound. Notice that we've heard it since the chirping stopped. Sounds like it's in our heads and at different points around us simultaneously. Camp landing is in the middle of fucking nowhere. No machinery or buildings near the land nav point. We get concerned, not sure whether to continue or go back to the SP, starting point. Talking back and forth for a few seconds. We then hear a bullhorn blast 3 times. Cadre announce over loudspeakers for all cadets to return to the SP immediately. Double time it. We didn't give a shit and felt like badasses with our fake M16s, so we just half-assed jogged back. Along the way, flocks of birds are taking off in a panic all around us. Start to get concerned, so we start picking up the pace. After about 10 minutes of jogging, we see the floodlights of the SP, and multiple high-powered flashlights zooming around the SP. The entire time, the cadre were frantically ordering all cadets back to the SP, each call more frantic than before, and increasing in frequency. We arrive, almost all lights on us. We are blinded and can't see. Here. That's them. Just 4, right? It's just 4. Count them. Should be 4. I don't see another. Seriously concerned now. Rumbling sound behind us in the woods. Cadre tells us we're the last to arrive. Do a quick head count. We get in cattle trucks. Newer deuce and a half. We take the fuck off. We left everything, including floodlights, tents, tables, vans, etc. at the SP. We drive back to the hardball, main road, and continue at a fast pace to the staging area. Staging area has floodlights. We have to run guard shifts with stupid rubber ducks and a radio. Cadre doesn't fall asleep, stays awake till sunrise. Once sunrise hits, we go back to the SP to get our equipment. Everything knocked out, tents flattened, a wooden table collapsed, maps in crumpled messes. We pack up quick per orders and start heading to the main part of post. Entire time, cadets are anxious as fuck because we had no idea what was going on. Everything was a frantic mess. Cadre seemed just as confused and nervous. As we are getting ready to head back south, the BC tells us we had to leave so fast because of an incoming thunderstorm. It was cloudy, but no signs of rain, and it never did rain. I got scared shitless when I heard of our cadets talking about a rumbling noise in the woods all around them, and in some cases, in their head. Kind of a lackluster story, but it was just fucking weird, especially with the sound and how panicky all the cadre were acting. I had gotten into an argument with my parents when I was around 8 years old, and they made me go to my room while everyone else stayed downstairs. I remember picking up a book to distract myself from just how angry I was. I had barely started reading when I noticed movement out of the corner of my eye, and I saw what appeared to be my own self step out from around the corner to where the bathroom connected to my room. Neither of us spoke, but we locked eyes for the entire time. I walked towards and stopped a few feet in front of it, but it would not step towards me. It was watching me as I was watching it. I just remember sadness, even though its face was blank. It lasted for a few seconds before stepping back around the corner, and I never saw it ever again. I remember running downstairs afterwards and telling everyone, not realizing I had been upstairs for probably 10 minutes. This experience has stayed in the back of my mind for years, and I have never forgotten about it.